Hey Talk Shop ladies, hopefully you had a good Memorial weekend. So let's get into today's topic about safety. As physical safety is one thing, but we're probably gonna obviously talk about emotional safety, safety in your heart, within. And sometimes we use words, I think of the word, let's say salvation or respect. I mean, there's so many times I've been I don't know, like just my eyes open up when I recognize people define these words differently. Like, for instance, I remember asking a high school student, what does respect mean for him? And he was like a street kid, and I was very surprised because his definition was very different from mine. His definition was more like, well, if people look at you, they're scared of you, they don't want to mess with you, they don't want anything to do with you because like you can mess them up and blah blah blah. And I'm like, not my definition of respect, but okay, now we know, right? Or even salvation. Different religions will have different understandings of, you are saved if or when or whatever, right? So we toss these words around, and I think it's a good idea for me to even clarify, what do I mean by safety? I had an experience with a client where that was a really important and necessary topic for some breakthrough. So safety. Emotional safety, safety of your heart. I don't care what your relationship status, I don't care where you're at in life, what's going on. This applies to all of us. Sometimes when we say things like, oh, are you feeling safe within, right? Even use the word protector or protective. We have different understanding, different definitions, and sometimes we go and literally think of a safe, think of like a vault. Have you ever seen those massive safes that's like what, concrete, metal, good luck getting in? And sometimes we think we are creating safety within to experience, let's say, a feeling, an emotion, to cater, to take care of, to tune in, whatever it is. But we create this vault where no one can experience it, no one can penetrate it. We barely have access, let's say, to our heart, because I'm talking about your emotional space, which is, I guess, your heart. Or nervous system, doesn't matter. But the point is, sometimes we just so close off, isolate, protect. It's just the opposite of real vulnerability. Okay? You can't access what you're feeling. And maybe even if you can, we guard it, we hold it, we don't let anyone or anything get close to connect, to repair, none of that. And if we're talking about healing and growth and connection and relationships, how are you supposed to flourish if you don't relay responsibly what you're feeling to get your needs met, or to get connected, or in relationships, repair? Okay, now then think of the opposite spectrum, where sometimes we're always bleeding out our heart, blood everywhere, right? Metaphorically, emotionally speaking, where it's like, where do you even begin? Like, you can't even get in without being messy. It's volatile, it's tumultuous, it's all over the place. We spew, that's the opposite of that vault mode sometimes we get into. And you might have the predisposition to be in vault mode most of your life, or maybe you're always spilling everything. And so part of what it means to be that mature woman is the ability to self-hold, to feel, to regulate. You still have access to your heart, but think about it as like your newborn infant baby. Okay, you're not going to give it away to everyone and everyone can hold and touch it and go off in the next room. You're not going to do that, right? Especially if it's something very tender in your life that you're bringing up, an issue, maybe something with your husband or a friend or whoever, right? There is a level of maturity and wisdom. Who gets to experience this and how much? So take like an emotion. Let's say there's an issue. Let's say something's going on. And remember, we're dropping stories, judgments, and projections. And the only thing that we can be responsible for is what we're feeling. And even then, sometimes we struggle to even access and recognize what we're feeling. So how in the world are we supposed to know what everyone else is experiencing with our judgments and stories? Like, we don't know, right? So like, let's say I'm feeling really scared and sad. Okay. I can go into vault mode. Okay, okay, let's pretend it's my husband. I can go into vault mode, close off, and I already know that means I'm not looking at him, that means I'm not talking to him, that means I'm gonna work on my own project, that means a whole bunch of stuff, anything but him getting anywhere close to me. And heck no, he is not going to experience or know what I'm feeling because I'm closed off. But how is that going to serve me in my relationship? How am I going to repair? How am I going to bond? I mean, it's only going to multiply a problem and create a mountain between us. And then we still have, it doesn't magically go away, right? The resentment will build or whatever. Now, on the opposite end, it's also going to be unhealthy if I go into this, like, think of just bleed mode. And I'm going into like, well, you didn't do this, and because of that, and you, and I never even get to how I feel, right? It's so much easier to be like, you don't even care about me, and that's why you were on your phone, and this and that and that. And it's like, okay, but at the core, like, what is going on? What are you feeling? What's the issue? What's happening? And when I can just get into, here's how I feel. Think about it like you're showing someone, this is vulnerability. And again, I don't care if you're dating, I don't care if you're talking about a friend, it doesn't matter. Here's my vulnerability. Think of it as a garden, and I have a precious, let's say, rose here. And maybe it's hurt. And I don't, instead of me saying, look at this rose and look what you did, it's like, here's this rose. And can I be vulnerable to put it down on the table, my heart? Even if it's bleeding a little, whatever, it's my heart. It's fleshy. That's good. I don't need a stone heart, and I don't need pure blood. I need a fleshy heart, my emotions, my rawness, and say, here's what's going on. This is where my rose is. There's a weird black spot on it, or it's drying out. And can you trust that, this person can be able to come in and have appropriate access to help, to nurture, again, to repair. And so safety in that aspect, again, does not mean I have closed off, you can never access me and try to read my mind and figure out what's going on and connect. No. The safety we're talking about, women in this space, is so above what most of us are used to. We literally have to generate a nervous system that's expanded enough for me to hold, and where I can come to a friend, to my husband, to whoever, and say, I feel sadness. I feel scared, right? Whatever the issue is, and being able to present this while still respecting, while still holding myself, and they can feel my heart. I'm still fleshy, okay? And with that, again, that provides opportunity for connection, repair, problem solving, etc. I understand, for instance, like, let's say you have a conflict that you keep bringing up with a friend, and they keep disregarding this garden that you're showing them or trying to give them access to. They don't have to have access to the whole garden. Maybe it's this rose bush you're inviting them to, right? Look, if they keep disrespecting, and then sometimes, okay, maybe that's not your friend, right? Sometimes those are lessons we learn. But vice versa, sometimes we just, again, go into sabotage mode. I feel so hurt, I'm just going to close off. Vault, you won't touch me with a 10-foot pole. I won't tell you, you will never feel what I feel. Okay? But what happens when, because we go into that close off mode, the person who actually cares about us doesn't even have the data to connect and to help heal or problem solve the situation? Oh, I didn't know that. When I didn't respond to this message, that this is how you felt. I'm sorry. I will respond next time, or this is what I'll say. I got your message. I just didn't know you wanted me to say, okay, I got it. Whatever the example is, it's so much easier for us, or it's this false easiness, right? Well, I'm just going to assume this, I'm going to create this story instead of me getting to the core and what I feel. And it's easier for us to say, well, I'm just going to not deal with this, or assume they're bad, or just lock up and close myself off, instead of give people chances to connect. It takes a lot of maturity, self-responsibility, again, for you to be vulnerable, for you to connect with your own fleshy heart and then communicate it. I've given this example many times, even in the beginning of my marriage. I was shocked, the more intimate conversations. When I say intimate, I mean if they're vulnerable, right? It was hard for me to express where I'm sad or angry or whatever. And I had to stretch out my nervous system to keep practicing. And now I'm at a place where it's like, wow, I can actually bring up things that are challenging, that feel difficult, but it's the mature thing to do, because it will bridge any gap. It will destroy any kind of disconnection or distance by giving my husband the ability to connect with me, so we can problem solve together and make sure we're on the same page. Is it easier to go into or does it sometimes feel safer for my nervous system to shut down, go into lock mode? Sure. But at the same time, I now know, I've experienced, and I understand with maturity, it's not helpful. It's not. And so again, ladies, when we talk about safety, when we're doing this resourcing work, remember the resources within. If you watch the videos in psychoeducation tab, the resources on the outside and the resources within. Where do I have safety? For instance, like in this counseling office, or even with some of my coaching sessions, sometimes clients will have the safety in this context, this relationship. It feels non-judgmental. Maybe it's with another woman, whatever, right? Reasons on the outside where this place maybe feels safe, and it's a resource, yes. But what about on the inside? Okay. And so I've had, that's why we talk about resourcing and these skills all the time. What do you need to feel safe? Like, let's say you do feel this vulnerability, you feel this sadness. What do you need to feel like you're protected, you're being held, right? That appropriate level of support that you imagine, real imagined, I don't care. Are you imagining Jesus is with you, holding your hand in that moment? Like when you feel that sadness, or you see your vulnerable raw heart, or you're feeling the pain or whatever. Or are you experiencing, for me recently, some of my experiences, I've been imagining this woman older than me, like not too far older, but just this like mature woman, the future me that I desire to be. And she's coming in to help, to validate, to soothe, to love me, and to encourage me, like, it's okay, life is good, it keeps getting better, I'm proud of you, as this mature future representative of me coming in to kind of anchor me and make me feel more, like I said, safe. We keep using that word. Whatever you need to imagine, whatever you need to do to create that safety, you're still accessible, you're feelable, you can be permeated, you could be felt. But yes, you are in charge. Who you give, how much, as long as you're not completely closed off, but you have enough wisdom to give to help yourself be accessible. If you want someone to feel you, or have the opportunity to again connect and repair. I know I've been very redundant in this video with the words I use: repair, connect, safe. But again, assess, ask yourself, what kind of safety do you feel? Because 10 years ago, even 5 probably, if you asked me about vulnerability, I probably did not in a million years guess how hard it was for me to be vulnerable. Because again, it's like safety or vulnerability or confidence, or what feels good, or what's normal. I mean, how do we know when we have our own unique experience? And it's oftentimes very locked in until we experience something totally different, right? And we're like, whoa, this could be better. Oh, this, I didn't know this existed. But my point is, if you told me to be safe or emotionally safe back then, I would have interpreted it as, okay, I'm closed off. Okay, well, you're not gonna have access to me. Okay, well, I'm just gonna self-protect and, just move on and work. And now I recognize, okay, internal safety, what does it look like? But I still have the skills, the responsibility to then communicate, again, connect, repair, you guys get what I'm saying, with what I'm holding. So no to you bleeding all over the place. No to you having a shut off, closed off, numbed out, stone cold heart. Yes to you experiencing the fleshiness, the felt sense of who you are, and as part of you being the feminine as well. So hopefully this clarifies some confusion about What is safety? What do we talk about that? And the more we open up, the more we have the skills to self-hold, to trust ourselves, to navigate through these conversations, but experiences, the more, again, confidence we'll have to continue to show up. So hopefully that helps. Let me know what your thoughts are, and do a little assessment, ladies, homework next time you are feeling like you are triggered or something's going on. What has been safety for you versus now this version of that mature, this type of safety that we've talked about. So hopefully this makes sense. Let me know if you have any questions to clarify, and I'll talk to you later.